What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode with The Exchange and Steve Pontecorvo. What you're hearing now is with some Brazilian music because what we got in the second game for the New Rebels is the birth of Sofinha. Mohamed Sofo makes the start. Obviously, we received the news that Lewis Morgan was going to be unavailable last minute. And we had a fantastic game that we're going to talk to you about with my great friends Jorge Martinez from The Exchange and
What's up?
Steve
What's up?
Pontecorvo, TNV Clothing.
Going
Go ahead,
on?
guys. Tell me, how was your weekend? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, man, I'm
Wow.
feeling good now. I'm feeling good after a win. Thank God. I was
We
hoping,
won.
yeah, I was hoping for a win, expecting a win, to be honest, and I'm glad we got it, and a clean sheet too.
Yes, sir. What about you, Jorge?
Bro, good weekend, man. It's just mine just ended. Yesterday I had this little thing that we went to, but it was a great game to be there Saturday. The vibes were right at Harrison. It was fucking cold though.
Yep.
Yes.
It was
I was freezing.
cold.
I was freezing.
Um,
Everyone
uh,
was cold.
Wild, right? Yeah, everywhere. I know people that left early because it was too cold. And imagine
Yeah.
them talking about changing the schedule. It'd be
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, I know. And it obviously weather always plays a factor too. Within it doesn't help when any social media outlets put out that it's going to be 54 degrees. So people probably didn't prepare as it was going to be that cold. So as if that's why they left. Because it's like I didn't pack my jacket or my winter jacket with me. So I'm getting the fuck home.
You got to
Or
bring the vintage jackets in the car. So next time you just sell them to people.
he should have brought one
Yeah,
for Joao. Joao was
I
wearing
gotta
a
have
sweater.
the
It was freezing over there.
yeah, I felt bad for Joao for a second
Of
because
course.
all he had was a sweater on. I was
Yeah,
like,
man, I
oh.
agree. Friend Miguel too, man. He was like, "Damn, I should have known better." But apart from that, eighteen
You live
thousand
and you
people
learn and
showed
you
up,
get pneumonia. Oh yeah, home run.
dude.
I
I mean,
I I would that's a home run. I wanted a little bit more, but that's a home run.
yeah, yeah, and we'll talk about the attendance because I know that that's a big topic. I know Steve had some things to say because he noticed different things in the stadium. So we'll get to that rant. Hopefully, we do record it this time. But let's talk about the New York Rebels. They go into the second game of the season at home debuts for Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting, Alexander Hack, and I think one of the biggest surprises is the home debut. Well, first MLS start for Mohamed Sofo, who nobody was expecting in the lineup. So I know in the stadium that we're asking, wait, what happened to Lewis? What's going on with Lewis? How did you guys first reacted to the news when you noticed he wasn't in the lineup?
So when I saw he wasn't in the lineup, I then looked to see if he was on the bench. And I'm like, oh, maybe he's not starting. And then I didn't see his name there. But it was so close to game time that at first I thought it was like an internet glitch, as crazy as that sounds. I'm like, oh, this guy messed up. The page that I was looking at, I'm like, they messed up.
The
And then
interns,
when I
yeah.
looked up at the screen, no, when I looked at the screen, I'm like, oh, wow. He's like, no, he's not even in the stadium.
Mhm.
I was like,
What
Yeah,
that's
about
a
you, Steve?
problem.
Steve, that
yeah,
that was shocking to everybody. I think Jorge was
yeah,
touching on it.
yeah. It was a big shock. I don't think anyone knew until about when they released the lineup. So 40 minutes beforehand, that was like the biggest red flag right there that Lewis wasn't even on the team sheet. So I mean, we were asking a lot of questions and we had no answers, so we kind of just had to roll with it. It's still early, like we said, so we just figured that he picked up an injury, and that's
Y-
seemed what happened.
Yes, and
I
I.
was worried about
Uh-huh.
that for him too because, you know, he hasn't really gotten an entire break, and then because they were in the final, they got an even shorter break, and
Yeah.
he played internationally. So
Yep.
like,
Yep.
you know,
And the thing, they stretched out the playoffs for quite some time. I mean, they started in October and they finished in December, so the playoffs were almost 2 to 3 months, but you're only playing 4 games, but then you got international play mixed in within there. So that's what I was trying to say. Like, as for the athlete's body, especially somebody coming off such a major injury, surgery, you need months of rest to fully recover, to fully be 100%. I'm sure he could, trot out there, but, I know he has a lot of pride too. So he wants to be out there and the fans want to see him out there and the new contract. So Let's just hope he recovers. He's probably going to need some extra time, and the fans should expect him just to be out for a little while and be okay with that because we don't want him for this to keep happening.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
true.
just to clarify, Sandro Shores was asked in the press conference if it was probably related to the hip injury. It's not related to that. He clarified that, and then we just hope that he's back on the field. We wish him a speedy recovery. Also, Cam Harper suffered an injury in the game.
Oh,
We're going
that
to
one
talk
broke my
about
heart.
that. Yeah, because I mean, we'll touch on it as we go through the game, but just seeing him in crutches, watching the rest of the game, I think it was a tough look for everyone who's a Rebel fan or even just an MLS fan. You know, you don't want those things to happen to good guys. We'll touch on it in a bit, but just guys, obviously we went in probably with the same lineup, I believe, the same structure. The only difference was that instead of Lewis Morgan, 20-year-old Ghanaian forward Mohamed Sofo goes and makes the first start and immediately makes an impact in the game, scoring an early goal in the first 6 minutes of the game. Anything that you guys want to touch on that first goal?
Choupo-Moting was
100%.
he was the catalyst to that whole thing.
Yep. Instrumental.
People are like, on some pages are like, oh, this guy is gonna be. I'm like, no. I don't know what game you saw, but dude, he's been good for 2 games. Really good for two
Agree.
games. He's been
Yep.
really
Agree.
good for 2 games.
Yep. I
Even
like
and if
what.
other people around him are scoring, somebody's doing the right thing.
Yep.
He's the guy.
Yeah. No, big game from Chupo, underrated. Talked about it, touched about it in the article that we just posted up. I mean, he held up the ball great, was able to dish it to different teammates, and great shot, just rang off the post, and Sofa was able to jump on it. So that was great play all around, but it all runs through Chupo, and that's what I was we touched on in that last episode too, that if he could just get the service, and Cam Harper, that's what's such a shame because Cam Harper was looking like he was doing really good on that right side, and that's the perfect person just to be a menace on that right side, just swinging crosses, shots on net, whatever you can do. It's just so Chupo can get a header on it, whatever you can do.
Yeah, and I think some of the people on Instagram were commenting that we haven't had a forward who can hold up play like Chupo does, but being able to turn and find like his technical ability to give a good pass or to look for you in long passes. I think we've been missing that. I don't
Yep.
know, for quite a while. I don't remember
Yeah,
a
we wanted
last
that
time
kind
like
of in
that.
Corey Burke. I mean, shout
Yeah,
out to our boy Corey.
Shout out to Corey Burke.
playing the
Yeah.
Curry.
USL,
Steph
right?
Curry. He's playing Steph Curry.
Corey the go. He's in USL now. Wish him the best there. But yeah, that's the cannot compare him. I mean, the technical ability from Choupo-Moting has been very impressive in these last 2 games. I think also he's learning to just move the ball quickly. Don't hold on to the ball too much. Release it, move, and I think the important part of this game was getting the numbers forward. I feel like we were able to win second balls. I think Peter Stroud was one of the main guys who recovered the ball and was able to play it off to Chupo. And Chupo creates a shot, a difficult one, stays on it, and Mohamed Sofo also stays on the play. And it's very important to finish that goal. I think that's a huge booster, especially for
Yep.
him starting the game. He's like,
Oh yeah.
what am I gonna do?
What a feeling. What you know what I mean? That's awesome. I think we're
He was
kind of.
happy after the game too, man. He was all fired
I
up
think
after
we're
the
under.
game.
Yeah. I mean, Johnny on the spot right there. Good
You
for.
have to be.
Yep.
Well,
Mo Sofo.
What about Emil's banger?
I,
Yep.
I'm getting that
Goal of the
because it
week.
was 30
Goal
minutes.
of the
I'm
week.
getting to that. But before, I have to ask you, how do you guys like Mohamed Sofo's celebration? Paying a little tribute to Ronaldinho.
Little Jogo Bonita. I love that. I love it. I love it. You
I
kind
love
of
it too.
someone tried to shout it out, but he was just having
He
fun, I
did.
think.
He did. Yeah, somebody. Yeah, but you know what, dude? Let him have fun, man. You know
Yep.
what's wild? Mo interviewed him in Coachella,
Yes.
and when he got back, I was like, bro, I was like, he might be RB2, right? And it worked out, dude. Mo has this little thing. He sees these guys. He knows, you know.
He should be
And
working for Rebels, my friend.
I they
Hey.
can't cut him a check big enough. But he knows. He picked this guy out, and I think so. I'd be nervous if I were a Lewis Morgan, if this next game he comes out and he does something consistently, I
Mm.
mean, Sandro isn't quick to cut somebody off, but if it's not broken, like, what are you trying to fix?
I wouldn't worry too much. I think the seniority of the player would come into the play, and Sofo's still so young that, yes, he's going to have some good games, but against different opposition, it'll be a different story. So I love that he's got a lot of legs and he's got a lot of speed and he's healthy. We need guys like that. So, but I still think if we just give Lewis the time, I think once he's healthy, Sandro will go right back to him. I don't see why not. But it's good
Agreed.
to have this depth. This is what we need.
That's a home run. That's a home run, Steve.
Well, that's the whole point too. Like credit to Sandro for giving these guys, former Rebel Two players the opportunity to play. I feel like Sandro Shores this season with the Rebel Two players is like the Oprah Winfrey meme, where it's like you're gonna start, you get a start, everybody gets a start.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see that the pipeline is working. So, um, obviously, great game from him. And then, I think the game was decided 30 minutes into the game. Jorge,
Yeah, I was about
talk
to
to me
say that.
about
Yeah.
that banger, that email force
Oh,
where we asked for him. We said
goal of
that
the
he
week.
needed to show up, and he did.
Yo, superstar, bro. Superstar doing what he needs to do, right?
Yeah, man, he heard you last week.
He saw the show, I'm sure.
He
He
listened.
watched the show.
He
Yeah,
listened.
yeah. Yeah, I'm happy for him. He needed that. And the little celebration at the end was a home run.
Yeah.
I like Superstar, man. I think it's good. I think he's good. I think he brings something to the team, and it was a good goal. But I'm going to tell you something I'm worried about. You guys are going to still give your opinion on that banger. But both of their goals, one came in the 17th minute, one came in the 30th minute, and then it was dead after that. Now, was it dead after that because Cam got hurt and he got off for the pitch? Because I thought, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to sort that part out from re-seeing it, like rewatching it. I have a couple notes here on the laptop, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, what happened after the 30th minute? Because it didn't get crazy, and I don't think they had chances where they missed a ton of chances,
No.
right?
No, it got a little deflated, I would say,
Mhm.
the play after that. And then they ended up kind of just cruising to halftime. And we would take it 2-0 at half, So I think after they saw Cam go down, they kind of did shell up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they put in Nealis. They put in
Dylan Nealis.
yeah, Dylan Nealis, which is a more of a defensive move, I think,
Yeah, Sandro was asked about that too. The difference that Cam offers and compared to Dylan Nealis, and Cam is able to make those diagonal runs. He's a
Yep.
better dribbler. Uh, Probably a more instinctive player inside the box who can take a good shot, who can give a good
Yeah.
cross. It's a
Right.
very important player.
Yeah, he was gonna take he was another guy that was probably gonna take another big role, big step. And it
Yes,
just sucks to see him go down because he was playing so good, making those cuts. I mean, he was deadly with those fakes too. You never knew
yes.
what he was gonna do, if he was gonna swing it in with his right or he was gonna cut it back onto his left. So he's a dynamic player. I can't wait to see him back on the field too.
Yeah, and to answer your question, Jorge, I think it was also game management. Um, at the beginning, I feel like with the first half it was very dominant, and I think the team valued possession, and they were able to control the game with that. In the second half, I feel like the first 15 minutes of the second half from Nashville, it was just nothing but fouls. There was a lot of choppy plays, and then I feel like the legs also get a little tired. Chupa's not going to be making those runs all the time, and they defended a little bit of a lower block in the second half. So the game was
Yeah.
just kind of like finding those opportunities. And in the counter, we did have opportunities with Noah Isla, Julian Hall, even Chupa didn't get the ball in the right place to take a shot, but there were some opportunities for the Rebels to score the third goal. But I think defensively, there was a lot of cohesiveness within the team. I think they were very compact. I think Noah Isla had a fantastic game, man. I mean, and then Alexander Hack is also looking
He
more
had a better
comfortable.
game. He had a better game than the first
Yeah,
game.
He had a better game.
yeah.
He could have finished that. He had a big chance in the box. I think that was around like the
The header?
70th. No, the 70th minute. When Julian Hall had that chance. This is when the subs came in. And
No,
then
no, no.
Noah
But I think it was Noah. Noah
Yeah, it
had
was
that chance.
yes, yes,
The
yes.
rebound.
It was off a shot from Julian Hall. But yeah,
Yeah, those.
that ref was actually flashing the yellow a lot too, pretty quickly. Neil Forsberg wasn't having that. Just all around, the refereeing in MLS is just so shoddy too. It's a shame, but you never know what you're gonna get game to game. It varies. So this guy was, he was showing it to Nashville too. So like you said, a lot of fouls, a lot of chippy play.
Yeah,
Nothing.
and
I was expecting more from Nashville, to be honest with you.
oh
So
yeah,
Was
they don't look that
Carlos's
strong.
shutout a good shutout? I mean, I'm happy he got a shutout because
No,
I love
it's
Carlos.
not yeah, it's not the prettiest, but it is a
You
shutout.
take it, right? You take it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he'll take it, and defense will take it too. A solid defensive performance from the boys. Good bounce back game for them.
I think that's what was important. The defensive display was making it easier for Carlos to get that clean sheet, and he did have some interventions that were
Yeah,
great. But
a good
defensively, I
save on
think
the
the team is
Sturridge.
strong. Yes, yes, yes. And I also going back to the point that Steve made about the yellows, I think Omar Valencia got a yellow card early in the game, and I was a little bit scared because he's still developing with our team, but he showed maturity, being able to control himself. I think what I like from Omar is not only that he's getting confidence, but he's playing simple. He's making those
Yes.
runs. He's timing those runs perfectly whenever he needs to push up in the attack, whenever he needs to retreat. And I think that there's a good combination play with Emil Forsberg. Emil Forsberg is doing a lot with the young guys, and I saw different plays with Chupamoting, with Emil Forsberg, a very good understanding of those 1-2 wall passes, man. I think he's doing fantastic with the team. And I'm going to tell Marcelo Morales, man, I mean, you got some competition. You got some competition coming up. And props to Omar. Props to Omar, who he's doing good things with the team. Do you guys think anything else about Omar's performance? He got to talk a little bit in the press conference. His first one, I think. Um,
Yeah, I asked him about how does it feel to have the confidence of coach being so young, because people, he's a kid, you know. So for him to get a start, the home opener, like it's a good thing, man. It's awesome. It was cool, man. I liked what we saw after the game. I enjoy that part, like the scrums and stuff, because you see guys a little more mellowed out, I guess.
yes.
And seeing everybody getting around. Sofa was cool. Like it's a vibe, man. It's a vibe. It was a good night. Saturday was a good night, man.
Yeah, and I think Steve. I mean, obviously, we're gonna go back to the goal scorers. You get a chance to talk to Emil Forsberg. You get a chance to talk to Mohamed Sofa. What did you make out of that experience? What did you get from the boys?
Yeah, no, a lot of relief, I think, too, and excitement. I mean, having Sofo score, I mean, it's not just a goal for him, it's a goal for the academy. And Omar Valencia's performance as well, too. All these guys coming through the system. So it's great to see for us and for Red Bull to continue this pipeline of kids. I mean, it's badly needed. Like I said, it adds to our depth, and we're gonna need 20 guys for this season. Coming off the back of when we went to the finals, we're gonna need Duncor, we're gonna need Valencia, we're gonna need Serge Goma, all the RB2 guys who are now
Hmm.
graduates into the first team, making that leap. It's great to see their fearless attitude, and Sandro has the confidence in him, and that's the good, formula for them to succeed. And it helps with the leadership of Emil Forsberg as well because he
Yes,
gives them
leadership.
that confidence and
Hmm.
he's calm. He has that presence where you don't get worried as much. You don't get nervous as much on the field, and that's big for a young player.
Absolutely, Jorge. I'm gonna go with you on this one. You asked coach a very important question because there's always room for improvement. Although we understand it's the second game of the season, but it's MLS. I mean, you got to be ready. Coaches got to be ready. What would you have wanted to see probably from the team
So
offensively or defensively?
so I'm gonna harp in on the same thing that I said last week. Um, Something else happens when Noah attacks a little bit.
Ah, good point.
Something happens. I mean, we saw it last week. We didn't see it too much this week, but something happens, and he seemed very comfortable when he starts to like get up there. But the people who seem more comfortable are the guys that are behind him, the Nealis and the Hack, they're okay with manning whatever they have to with just them two for a little bit. So I'm looking something here, and it looks like I think they ended the game in a 2-1-4-3, or that's how they started the game. But I'm like, if you have Noah doing like a little bit of an attack, I mean, at that time we had Harper, so yeah, no. But I like him attacking. I like him attacking.
Where?
Um,
But where
huh?
in the attack? Where would you put Noah Ayla in like a
So
central defensive?
no, so like like last year you had JMI that would come up a lot. He
So
would
on
come
the
up a
wing.
lot. Yeah, yeah, on the wing, on his right side. If he plays on the right, right? He should
I thought
be.
Cristhian Ortiz broke the news that he likes to play on the left.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah,
adjusting to the new position, and I think he got a little. He was better at
he had a
pushing
good
forward.
game.
He had a
He had
good
a
game
good
pushing
game.
forward. No, he almost scored.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was just wondering. I was just asking. Of course, I think Noah Ayla had a great game too.
Yeah, he
Yeah, no,
needs
no, it's a fair
to
question.
be up. He needs to be in there in the mix.
Uh,
And Mike, when I asked Sandro about, what more did he want to see, I didn't mean it like to knock the guys. I meant it more like, listen, you have guys that might not be coming back, and then when your subs came on, you guys died out. Like,
Oh, and that's a point that sorry, Steve. Before we go into that topic, you wanted to say something?
No, no, that was it.
Okay,
you know,
because sorry, Jorge, go ahead.
no, go.
Um, just wanted to ask you on the subs because I feel like there was you mentioned it died down a little bit, and obviously it can be part of game management, but I think there's a lot of players that still need time. I mean, Felipe Carvalho didn't look strong again for the second time in a row. Obviously, he got 10 more minutes more than he did last time, so 20 minutes of game time. He still doesn't look 100%. Raheem Edwards, I think that he's still adjusting to the speed. I think Sandro mentioned something about fitness not being 100% with some of the players that came in late to the training to the preseason. Uh, I didn't have any real good positives from the guys that were substituted. I don't know if you guys saw the things from the players.
Yeah, not as much as I would like. But then also you got a guy who's coming on like who's playing 80%, healthy. So I don't think they
Carvalho.
were really. I don't think they were. Luckily, we had that lead and we won the game in 30 minutes. That we didn't need a goal. That Nashville didn't score. Otherwise, we probably would be harping on it a little bit more.
Jorge?
I agree. I think that how do I say this? You know, it's cold. They had a short time off. We can't expect all of these guys to be at 100%.
Yeah,
The
and running
problem
it.
is
Yeah, running it.
exactly, but the
Yeah,
problem is that like with the workload that you have, you're not going to be at 100%. So when the depth that you have now, technically they have a good depth, but if the depth isn't performing, that's going to be a problem that could bite you in the ass, especially with all the games that are being played this year.
yep. Yeah, we're lucky it's early, and
Exactly.
let's just hope this injury list, which just added 2 players to it, doesn't keep growing, and we can take a couple guys off of it in the next coming weeks.
Yeah,
You might have to get
that's
dressed up, Steve. You might have to get in.
he's waiting for
Hey,
his call.
You waiting
that's
for the
fine.
call, Steve? You got this, Steve. You've been training.
Yep, I have been.
And sorry, and just to also go back to what you said earlier, Jorge and Steve, I actually agree with you too. It's like we don't want Noah to be a winger, but I feel like he is effective when he pushes up
Yeah.
because he's that extra man and
Yep.
he's good with the ball,
Yeah.
which is surprisingly with his.
This is so
I
big.
yeah yeah.
And I love finding out all this stuff. Exactly. We find out, Sofo can play up, top, and he has a lot of speed. He reached, I don't know, there was some crazy stat that he reached up to 20 miles per hour.
Oh my goodness.
So we got a freaking jackrabbit out there
Usain
just
Bolt.
running all
He's
over the
playing for the
place,
Rebels.
pressing, every challenge. And this is important, man. Once you press, they get rid of the ball, and this breaks up that play. This is exactly what Red Bull wants to do. So
I think you brought up a good point, Steve, because obviously there are differences when you have Lewis Morgan there, but Sofo brings something else. Is that what you're probably talking about too? Like he brings the speed, pace.
yep.
We're able to put pressure on defenders of the
Yep.
opposition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not
How
saying that Lewis wasn't able to do that, but it's just a
right?
different style of play. I mean, Sofo might be able to reach a ball that's 20 yards ahead of him, you know what I mean? Where Lewis Morgan might need it to his feet, which is totally fine because Lewis Morgan has way more in his locker than Sofo does. Sofo's just, he's just growing. We're just gonna see it before our eyes. So let's just hope, we can use him for all we can until
Yeah,
the boy healthy.
yeah, and I think we have to make sure that also we don't hype the players up too much because it can put the
Yes.
pressure on them. Let's take it slowly. We're not going to expect 20 goals in the season from Mohamed Sofo, but what he can contribute, it's going to be helpful for the team. One
Yep.
question that I wanted to ask you guys after the game, obviously we win 2-0, but now we have a question mark. Do we have to change the structure because we lost Cam Harper and Lewis Morgan? Um, do we go back to playing a four-man back line? Do we keep the three and then just who do you guys switch? Dennis Jengar, Dylan Nealis? What do we do? Put your coaching hats on.
I start Dylan Nealis.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
he'll probably give it to Dylan Nealis if he's been healthy, he's performed well, the past few months, in that playoffs especially.
Oh yeah.
So
A million percent. A
But
million
wouldn't
I
percent.
think
Dennis?
I think he has more trust in Dylan
Yes.
Nealis too.
Yes.
Until Morales is healthy, until Raheem Edwards shows a little bit more in training, maybe, then we can, or Dennis even will hopefully get his chance here too.
Well, that's what I was gonna go to because Dennis Jengar is a player kind of with the same characteristics as Cam Harper, and he's more of an attacking player. And that wing back position, Dylan is great. He did good with what the time he was given, but I think Dennis might be a little bit more of an offensive player, don't you think, or no?
Yeah, I think he'll get some time if we're ever down like a goal or it's like a 1-1 game. In these next coming games, away games, we got, wouldn't be surprised to see a few appearances from Dennis.
Okay.
Speaking of
Okay.
away game, speaking of away game, I don't know if we're
Yes.
going to jump to the next one, but what are you guys thinking of Atlanta?
Oh, yeah, good point to bring it up, man. It's a tough place. Who did they play the first game? I forgot, but they won that game with 2 goals from their DP forward, who looks very dangerous. I don't like playing in Atlanta because the atmosphere is intense. I think they get like 50, 60,000 people packed in their Mercedes-Benz stadium. It's also turf, if I'm not mistaken, right? Still turf,
They played
Steve?
Montreal. They played Montreal first.
They play Montreal first.
Yep.
Yeah, the field is different. And speaking of field, Emil Forsberg mentioned that the team played better this game. He mentioned it a couple of times actually, because the field was watered down. Like they
Like,
were able to put water on the field before the game, unlike they did in FC Cincinnati. So the field does play a big factor for these guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
but shout out to the Sports Illustrated Arena grounds
Groundsman,
crew.
yeah.
The old red, bro. Last year they like killed it every week. It rained every week, but like torrential downpours. Like when they played Miami, torrential downpour. But they were playing on a good field. These guys, they're the best. They're the
Yeah.
best.
Underrated. Shout out to the Rebels ground crew
Yeah,
for sure. We
underrated.
have one of the nicest grass. We have one of the nicest grass fields, and that's what a lot of pro players like anyway. They don't like playing on turf.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Steve, so
I
what
don't,
uh-huh.
I don't know, like, not every once in a while, but come on.
So
No, can't do it.
you don't like our chances against Atlanta going this
No,
I
not
do because
necessarily.
Atlanta isn't good. Atlanta's not good.
And I
Whoa,
think
that's
the
a big statement.
guys, I think the team always gets up for a game when the stadium's packed with 50,000 people. I think that, it might be intimidating at first for some of the young guys, but the rest of the guys, they love it.
Dude, they beat at a Montreal team that's not really too good,
Okay.
3-2.
Hmm.
Lost to Charlotte on the road 2-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're decent. Charlotte's decent.
Yes.
And now you got New York coming in off a huge win and a not so bad loss.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Red Bull are the better team going down there. It's just the factor of playing there, right?
Yep.
Did Almiron already play? Did he play with
yeah.
Atlanta? Did
Yeah,
you
he
guys
started. He's good starting.
any thoughts on his play so far back in MLS?
I like Almiron. That's my guy. I like him. I think he's good.
Yeah.
He's good, right? He's a good guy. Like I like him, man. I like him. I like that he came back. I always love when the guys come back.
Yes.
Like Clint Dempsey came back. Like all these guys go. Like Timmy Howard left, came back. I love that. I love
Shows
that.
he
I love
respects
that.
the league.
Yeah, I love that.
Interesting enough, he was supposed to go to Charlotte, but he said, no, I'd rather come back to Atlanta, which is, it says a lot. It says a lot about the players. He's very loved and he loves them back, but we're looking to continue our winning streak over there. It's going to be a tough place.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I would be okay with the draw. A draw wouldn't be the worst result either. If we get a win, that's going to be amazing, especially with, us not being 100%. No Lewis, I think it's a big loss. Still no Morales. Those are the two big ones. So
yeah, I think so too.
Until we get them back, I think then we can really start thinking of like, all right, going into a lot of these away games that we should be winning too.
Yeah, so just to, I guess, answer the question, you go back with the same lineup. Mohamed Sofo starts again. Is that what you're probably saying?
Yeah, I'm sure he keeps it the same way.
Okay, and then obviously
it
for
seems
Cam,
like it's a week-to-week basis too on who's coming off, who's ready to play, and who's not. So we'll see who's ready to play. Sure, it'll be the same group, and let's hope the subs this time can make a bigger impact.
That's the nature of the beast, though, with the game. But you want to have it happen now. You don't want to have it happen, next September, next October when it's nitty gritty, and you need to. You know what I mean? You'd rather have these guys go down now instead of that time of the year, September, October, going into November, and here we go. This guy's down. Forsberg's down. You don't want that. You don't want that. You'd rather have it now.
Yeah, no, so we saw last year that we got healthy right at the right time too, and I think that's why we were able to make that run.
Yes,
that so many people didn't see coming.
Yes, and hopefully this 2025 MLS playoff run includes a Timo Werner, which is a topic that I wanted to bring up with the boys. Look at your faces.
We're going to keep mentioning his name until he appears.
Today, well, actually, I think yesterday, the Mirror broke the news or found out that Tottenham is not going to use or is not going to activate the purchasing option for Timo Werner, and the chances now become a little bit better for the New York Red Bulls to sign the German international forward who's going to be 29 soon. Some of us like it, some of us don't, and I mean you, Jorge. So I'm going to start with you.
Wait, hold on. Yo,
I know
Stone Cold Steve, vintage. Yo, you like this, Steve?
I never said I liked it. I'm just saying I didn't think it's going to happen right now.
You got the two beers.
Wait. So, Steve, you're against us bringing Timo Werner?
I never said I was against it. What are you? Stop
Which one are you? Which one are you? Which one are you?
I am for it. I'm for it. But I'm not like die hard for it. I'm not like we need him so badly. But if my voice will get louder if the results aren't there. All right. You have 15, 20 games. There's going to be a summer window. I thought that's probably when they were going to bring him in. You still think there's a chance to bring him in now?
Probably not.
No.
So exactly. So let's see what happens. Right. Felipe has to go too. If Lewis stays injured, listen, what other options are they going to have?
Some good points. You bring some good points.
Okay.
And Lewis, let's just say Lewis is still having issues coming back, or Cam has a setback or something. There's going to be a huge spot in that wing. And if they could bring in Timo, just even on loan for 6 months, a year, kind of like what just Felipe did, I don't think why not. It's no brainer.
Is it a no brainer? I think that it's a guy who is on a slow decline, right?
He's still young.
Oh, yes, he's very young. He's very young. He's very, very young. But it could be a situation like when Dante was Dante.
He's playing with Emil Forsberg.
But also, this guy is always hurt. he's always hurt. Always hurt. Okay, so you're talking about Lewis, right? Who I hope this isn't the case, but now you have 2 years of dealing with an injury, right? Not fully recovered. So from here the rest of the way, this is probably going to happen again. We don't want it to, but this is probably going to happen again. Now you got a guy, a similar track record in a league where I'm not saying it's tougher, but here you have kids that are like slide tackling, like for fun. It's super tough. I just don't think that it works more for him than it works for the Red Bull. I think that the Red Bull we saw this weekend have a foundation of somebody that's being trained, and you have a kid like Sofo who's young. You don't want to take somebody's spot or be in the situation where you're selling guys. You know what I mean? So like you have something here that's working.
What I'm trying to say. I didn't mean to cut you off, but if they perform, then their mindset with Timo might change. Yes,
that's what I'm saying, man. I think dude, why are you going to try to fix something that's not broken? You have a good thing right now, and we saw it. You know, all these young guys. Like, why are you going to try to take away a spot from one of these young, hungry guys for a guy that needs to come back? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I know it would be because it's a win now. Because I'm just trying to argue against it because it's a win now. It would be only a year. It would only be a year loan. So it's not like, hey, he's gonna sign with the Red Bulls long term. He still has aspirations to go back to Germany to make an impact there. You know, just come for a year, win a cup, win a competition, score 20 goals, do whatever you can. It's an experiment. I think they're willing to risk. There's a DP spot open. It all just makes too much sense. But to agree with you, Mr. Martinez, I would say, you know, let the young guys play. I love it. They're hungry. They got the legs. They're healthy. Unlike Timo, we know he's up and down. He's a roller coaster of a player too.
So is your answer. It started off with then no, and then no.
Because I see both sides. But right now, I'd still take him. That's what I'm trying to say. I would take him. I would take him.
You guys are insane. You guys are like acting like so humble, like, nah, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. Are you kidding me? We lost 2 wingers right now. We don't have a right winger in Cam Harper. We don't have a left winger with Lewis Morgan. Who are you going to bring? Dylan Neely's in the playoffs to score a goal? We need a winger. We need an attacking player. 80 goals in 130 games with RB Leipzig. A system that works for us. A German coach. His Bundesliga buddies, what is it called? Alexander Hack, Chupo, and Emil. This is the best case scenario for Timo Werner and for us who are lacking that firepower. Yes, Chupo is great, but we don't have a winger like
Imagine Chupo and Timo.
Imagine he comes here and he's Lorenzo Insigne. And everybody,
it's a loan. If they can get him on,
imagine that he comes here
and get him on loan. That's the key. If they sign him to a DP contract, that's totally different. That's what they did with Insigne.
You see, you get us Insigne situation, and then Sofa's playing in RB2 where he could really be playing.
Oh, come on!
Nah, you know I'm breaking balls out.
He's like, now he's trying to take us down.
No, but you know what I'm saying. You know, you don't want it to be a situation like that. I'm breaking balls, but you don't want it to be a situation like that. I mean, listen, again, my opinion, it works out more for him than it does for the Red Bull.
He's playing devil's advocate. That's the blue side in him. That's bringing up that down is that.
Yo, speaking of blue side, yesterday I went to the event for the blue side. Who's there? Pirlo. You know, the GOAT. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's a GOAT. But I thought about it too. I'm like, as I'm looking, I'm like, did this guy really do it? Like here?
He didn't do it.
It benefited him and it benefited the club, but they never won.
Yeah.
So do you want a Timo Werner situation like that? I don't know what side of the roller coaster you're on now, Steve.
You can't even compare those two players. I wouldn't even put those two players.
No, but I'm talking about the situation. Like, do you want a situation where Timo comes?
If it matters what type of deal it is. I know we have a DP slot open, so you're worried that we're going to just sign Timo outright and sign him to a DP contract with that money, not loan, not like a 1-year, 6-month loan, like just a temporary thing because he's still young and still wants to play in Germany.
What I think. That's
my only thought. Maybe you're thinking Red Bull just goes. There's a point of the season where exactly. Like the young guys are running, out of steam or whatever, and we don't have any goals, and we need some kind of spark. They might sign Timo. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and
He's in the umbrella of players too. That Red Bull scout that they know. So,
And
I
it's an
think
easy move, right? It's an easy move, right?
yes, very
It's
easy
kind of
move.
like, I hate to get back to them, but
No,
like
it's okay.
Kevin De Bruyne, if he goes anywhere else but to NYCFC, that is such a drop of the ball because it should be such an easy move
I
because they're
agree.
all in the same, right?
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
It
Like
no,
should be.
yeah.
that should be a play for them.
That should be the main target for them. And until they get their stadium, I think then he'll be more enticed completely. The
Yeah.
ground, the training ground, the whole lifestyle of being an NYCFC player changes dramatically. They already have a little bit of history, like you said, with the 10 years, which is it's crazy how much time has gone by. Um,
Crazy.
you know, but yeah, they're still a young club, so you got to understand that. And once they get that stadium built, I think they can hopefully for them, for their sake, they can land someone like that, and that would be big for the city, be big for the game.
Yeah, but I also think like the two big difference that to point out is that Pirlo came at an age where really was just the end of his career, and he
Yeah,
has won
very much so.
everything. There's no
Yeah.
motivation. So for Timo to come here, he's risking not playing for Germany anymore. Not like he is, I believe,
I
Yeah,
don't
right
think he
now.
is.
right.
Um,
But to even
but
be back on the radar,
exactly, he's risking that. So that would be a big challenge for him mentally. But I think 29 years old, man, and then he scores so many goals with RB Leipzig. I think you have to take that chance. And look at what happened with somebody brought it up. I don't remember the name, but they brought up Cucho Hernandez and how he was able to come back. Well, not come back, just come to MLS and then propel himself back into an important league like La Liga.
mhm.
The opportunity's there. Obviously, I think Cucho is a little bit younger. I might be.
But Cucho was already in La Liga.
He was in La Liga. Yes, he was in La
Yep.
Liga.
He was in La Liga.
And he was at Watford. And when he came from Watford, I think Watford was relegated. And then he showed up to MLS. And I think that's the mentality that we need. I think if Timo does end up here, he knows that he's going to be coached by Sandro Schwarz, a German who knows the Bundesliga, who knows Timo Werner, who knows what's expected of him. He's not going to
Has
have a
connections to
walk.
Bundesliga. So if he wants to do something like that, but a German style, going back to the Bundesliga after a year stint alone, is my prediction again. Then it's very, possible for him if he has a successful stint with us.
Yeah, and I also think that Emil Forsberg doesn't have that many years left. And these are the moments where you make those to take those big risks.
Yep.
Put the best team that you can put out there.
So
Yeah.
is it to you guys? Is it a win now?
Win in the next couple of years. Yeah. And these next two with Emil Forsberg and the nucleus, you can see that he can take a team to a cup final. And so that means in any of these competitions, I expect one of them to be in a final or in a semifinal. Yeah. With Emil Forsberg at the nucleus. And especially if you add Timo Werner, I think, yeah, then expectations are definitely reach a final.
All right, let's go. Predictions for the week. What do we
Yep.
think for Atlanta and Red Bull?
Christian, you go ahead first.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough game over there. I'll be a little bit optimistic and say a 1-1 game. And then I think Chupo does end up scoring, or Hack. One of those end up scoring in Atlanta in a set piece.
I don't think Hack will score. No, he's not gonna score. He's playing defense, man. Think about defense. Just stay back, please. I think Chupo gets the first goal, and then we might be under the cosh for the rest of the game, and Atlanta will even it up. I'm gonna say 1-1 as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna say a 1-1 Noah Eiley header on a set piece from the corner.
Ooh,
That's
okay.
right. I think Steve forgets that that's our DNA. I don't understand why he's like, oh, we can't score in a set piece. That's
Because he's
literally
like,
what we can
because then
do.
he says that, and then on his burner account, he's like, "We can score on a set piece."
I contradict
He
it.
argues with himself. He argues with himself on Twitter.
I'm
No,
dead.
Steve. No,
You got
Steve.
me. You got me. Oh my
All right,
god.
boys. This is it for another episode. We tried to end it like 30 minutes ago. We can't with these guys. But
Nope.
thank you guys so much for listening. See you guys in the next one.
Peace.